Cletus Cassidy and his new master Null are tearing up the Marvel Universe, and only heroes like Peter Parker can stop them. All this and more in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man issue 30. Let's all hop on in together, shall we? Alrighty then, so if you've been following along, Spider-Man is actually a major character in the pages of the Absolute Carnage event, but here, when it comes time to get a tie-in, this story isn't actually about Spider-Man, or indeed really Carnage for that matter. Surprisingly, this issue actually ends up being all about Kindred, the mystery foe who's been making Spider-Man's life hell since this book started. You see, all the way back when he went to go put the fear of God into Mysterio, Kindred opted to take a little detour to go taunt Norman Osborn in his cell in the Ravencroft Asylum, which is interesting that he walked when up until now we've seen him as a kinda teleporty magic character. It's made abundantly clear that Kindred knows exactly who Norman Osborn is, and his double life is the Green Goblin. In fact, he finds him right now more pathetic than anything, tied up in a straitjacket thinking he's Cletus Cassidy following his own exposure to the Carnage symbiote that made him Red Goblin for a short time. The very same strange madness that has him now running around in Carnage's original costume, bedeviling Peter Parker. It's here that the events of this comic pick up with the ending events of Absolute Carnage. You'll remember that Cletus had shapeshifted into Eddie Brock in an attempt to try and infiltrate the hero's base. This worked, and now him and his Carnage drones are swarming the place. It's all Spider-Man can try and do to rescue Eddie's own son Dylan, as well as Normie Osborn, the heir to the Osborn fortune. And from there, well, Spider-Man basically gets his bell rung by Osborn Carnage, who again refuses to admit that he actually is Osborn. Even Spider-Man worries about his chances here, saying that the only reason he was able to beat the Red Goblin before is that he was able to appeal to Osborn's ego and get him to shed the costume and fight him man to man. Now he's even more powerful than he ever was before, and even crazier to boot, meaning that hurting his pride isn't going to help him in this fight. But again, like I said, this issue really isn't about Spider-Man or Carnage, it's all about Kindred. We get a flashback from whom the perspective is a little up for debate, wherein we see Peter, Aunt May, Gwen, and Mary Jane all throwing a big party for a returning Harry. Flash Thompson is there too, former Agent Venom and a person who was actually killed by Osborn in the guise of the Red Goblin. I think Nick Spencer is actually heavily trying to imply here that if Kindred is anybody, there's someone in this room. Of course, again, like I said, the narrator of this situation is a little hard to pin down, and Kindred could always just be one big liar. Again, Kindred talks cryptically about his own relationship with Osborn, saying that he was able to embody something that no other Spider-Man villain really was, the fear that comes with old age. A reminder that death is always just around the corner. I don't know, I think the Vulture is pretty old, but don't let me interrupt your speechifying. And that more than anything, what Kindred truly wants to do is replace the Green Goblin in Peter Parker's nightmare. Let him be the thing that keeps him up at night, terrified. It's perhaps Kindred's final words that are the most strange and most cryptic, implying that for whatever reason Osborn has already won, and as the comic winds down, Osborn sheds the Carnage symbiote and gets ready to deliver the killing blow to Spider-Man. And so that was The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 30, and if you couldn't tell everyone, this issue was kind of all over the damn place. I don't really think it works as a tie-in to Absolute Carnage. Either you're already reading or you're going to be confused. And if you're not already reading that event, I doubt this story is going to make you want to start. Again, it's just so strange to see this issue not be about Carnage, not be about Spider-Man, but be all about Kindred and the mystery surrounding them. In that regard, though, there's definitely a lot to mull over, a lot of clues, a lot of potential breadcrumbs. Whoever Kindred might be, they not only know Spider-Man's life inside and out, but they know the lives of his villains inside and out too, meaning that they have to be someone very close. I know early on a lot of people were theorizing that he might be Harry Osborn. I thought that was a little too on the nose, but after this issue, I don't know, maybe. You could also make a strong case that this issue is trying to imply that it might be Flash. After all, Peter's bully turned friend who did indeed die because he was trying to help Spider-Man. Would it be interesting? Possibly, but I also feel it might be a little too soon to dig him up once again, though I would be happy to have Flash back by any means. Overall, I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. It was really disjointed. Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and today I come to you with some really good news. For the second year running, I will be a guest at the London, Ontario Comic-Con. Yes, that's right, you can come out and see me. I will be hosting a panel on the Saturday about comic books and superhero movies. That should be really fun, really excited about that. And then on the Sunday, I will be leading a panel, a kind of Q&A session for myself and a famous Superman cover artist. Ooh, that should be fun too. So yeah, there's still a chance to get tickets. I will link all the information down in the description. I will have merch, brand new merch that you can buy from me there. You can also go to my TeePublic store, which is down in the description, and pick up some stuff there if you are so interested, in case you can't meet me there. And again, that's the London, Ontario Comic-Con, not the London, England Comic-Con. I know it goes on basically the same weekend and the same weekend as New York Comic-Con. This created a lot of confusion last year, so don't be confused if you're in the Greater Toronto area, just in Ontario in general. Make a day of it. Come out and see me. I love to meet the fans, and I hope to see you there. Bye-bye.